All right, let's just jump right in. We're talking about deepfakes, this AI-generated stuff that looks so real it's almost impossible to tell it's fake. And this tech is creating, well, a pretty scary and fascinating legal minefield. I mean, how does the law even begin to handle a world where you literally can't believe your own eyes?
Seriously, just stop and think about that for a second. Imagine a video of you looking exactly like you, sounding exactly like you, saying or doing something awful, and it goes viral. This isn't some sci-fi plot anymore. This is the reality deepfake tech has created, and it's the huge problem we're going to unpack right now.
So, before we get into the whole legal battle, let's make sure we're all on the same page about what this deepfake deception actually is and why it's causing such a massive stir.
At its heart, a deepfake is just a really sophisticated lie. It uses AI to whip up or tweak a video or audio file to make it seem like someone did something they never actually did. You know, could be a politician appearing to say something shocking right before an election, or maybe a CEO making a fake announcement that tanks their company's stock. And the scary part? The technology is getting better at a mind-boggling speed.
And you've got to understand the stakes here are incredibly high. This isn't about some harmless internet pranks. This technology can be weaponized. It can be used to absolutely destroy someone's reputation, to swing an election by putting false words in a candidate's mouth, or to just unleash a wave of misinformation that makes people lose trust in everything. The potential for damage is just huge.
And that brings us to the main event. How in the world do you fight a 21st century problem using laws that were written, in some cases, centuries ago? It's like a high-speed chase between technology and regulation. And here it is, the core challenge for our entire legal system. The folks who wrote our laws could never, ever have imagined a world where you could just conjure up a photorealistic video from scratch. So now courts are stuck trying to cram the square peg of deepfake tech into the round holes of our existing laws.
So the main weapon we have in this fight, at least for now, is the law of defamation. It's a super old idea, right? You can't just go around making up harmful lies about people. And a deepfake video is, when you think about it, kind of the ultimate harmful lie. So the big question is, how does this old law apply to this brand new threat?
But it's not as simple as just pointing at a video and yelling, "That's fake, it's defamation." To actually win a case, a victim has to pass a very specific legal test. And with deepfakes, that's where things get really tricky.
Okay, so in the US, you basically need to prove these 4 things. A deepfake, well, that pretty clearly checks the false statement box. And if it's online, that's publication. The harm is usually pretty obvious too, but the really tough one, the one where these cases often get stuck, is step 3, proving fault. Who's to blame, and did they know what they were doing? Now this is where it gets really interesting. There's a huge difference in the legal standard depending on who you are. If you're a private citizen like most of us, you just have to show the person who made the deepfake was careless or negligent. But if you're a public figure, say a politician or a celebrity, the bar is way higher. You have to prove something called actual malice. That means proving the creator knew it was fake or had major doubts and just published it anyway. Trust me, that is an incredibly tough thing to prove in court. And that really sums up where we are right now. The legal ideas are in place, but the real-world application is a huge challenge. I mean, even if you can prove a deepfake is defamatory, how do you track down the anonymous person on the other side of the planet who actually made it? And how do you prove what was going on in their head? The internet makes that next to impossible. So, with all these roadblocks, what can victims actually do? If you're the target of a malicious deepfake, are you just powerless? Well, not entirely. There are still some tools you can use. On the civil side of things, a person can sue. On top of defamation, they might have a case for invasion of privacy or even for the sheer emotional hell a fake video like that can cause. A victim can also try to get an injunction. That's a court order that forces a platform to take the content down. It's a way to sort of stop the bleeding, even if it's hard to find the person who started it. And this is where things get even more serious. We're moving beyond just suing for money. In certain cases, making and spreading a deepfake isn't just a civil issue, it's an actual crime. Yeah, the law is starting to draw some very clear, bright lines here. For instance, using deepfake tech to create non-consensual pornography is being treated like the sex crime that it is in a lot of places. Using it to commit fraud or to mess with an election, that can land you in prison. These are the areas where lawmakers are getting really aggressive, really fast. And this is a super important point. Lawmakers get that the old laws aren't quite cutting it. So states, and even the federal government, are starting to write new rules aimed specifically at deepfakes. They're passing laws that require labels on AI content in political ads, or that flat out outlaw creating fake explicit material.
the law is trying its best to adapt. But let's be totally clear here. This fight is far from over. The technology is evolving way faster than laws can be written and passed, and there are still some massive, fundamental challenges that we have to deal with. And these are the big three hurdles. First, the anonymity of the internet makes it a nightmare to find who's responsible. Second, the insane speed of social media means a fake video can circle the entire globe before a court can even issue an order. And finally, here in the US, you always have the First Amendment. How do you regulate this harmful stuff without crushing legitimate free speech, like parody or satire? It's an incredibly delicate balancing act. And just to really drive home how hard this problem is, get this. The technology is already so good that the human eye often can't tell what's real and what's fake. We're now relying on other software to spot the forgeries, which has turned this whole thing into a full-blown technological arms race.
So that leaves us with a final and honestly a pretty unsettling question. As this technology gets closer and closer to perfection, as it becomes possible to fake anything and everything flawlessly, what happens to the very idea of evidence? What does it mean to prove something happened when a video is no longer a trustworthy record of reality? That's the huge question that we are all going to have to grapple with, sooner rather than later.